Um, Without it. Did you say without it?
With the advent of cloud computing and big data, I guess what he's saying is that that this law will somehow stop Filipino companies from dealing with the cloud, from moving into. Is that correct?
That's it's. I'm not sure what he's getting at. I mean, it's possible that what he's saying is that without the cybercrime law, then these businesses would not enter the market. And certainly that's the view taken by the Business Processing Association of the Philippines. These are the guys who help lobby for the law. So the what do you call that? The reasoning goes, right, that investors want a stable legal environment where their rights are protected.
Correct.
And you need a cybercrime law in order to make that happen. So you want to invest in cloud computing, but there are security issues with cloud computing. And what you want is, you don't just want a civil case to, you don't want just civil damages if your privacy is, if your cloud computing system has been compromised. You want someone to go to jail, right? So what he's saying is that the cybercrime law gives you that additional security, and it's part of the what do you call that? The selling point,
yes,
right? The selling point of
that your data is protected,
not just by
there's a deterrence factor,
not just deterrent on the commercial interest of the provider. That will give you some protection.
Correct.
But other people,
criminal
will not want to violate.
I get it. Yes. So right now there's another day of oral arguments on the 22nd.
That's for the Solicitor General. So we're going to sit there and
you're going to sit and listen to
we will sit and listen.
What's next? I mean, the TRO is going to it ends when?
It ends on I think February 6 or 7. So definitely Anonymous Philippines will keep an eye out for that.
We're at one time I think it was 1 a.m. when we were pushing out the stories. But so what happens next? Can you take us through the next few weeks?
What will happen is I think the Supreme Court will extend the TRO.
Yeah.
I think the big question now is what's the time period they're going to put.
Yes.
I think they set the time period. I think Ted was correct.
Yes.
That the time period was a signal. It was a signal to Congress that we're going to give you 4 months to take care of this thing. If you're not going to do it, then we're going to act. The problem now is that period is about to end. Congress isn't in a position right now, I think.
I don't think they've even really looked at it closely.
Some people have filed bills, but I think in Congress they've not been referred to committee. In the Senate, they want to amend it, but the process is quite long, and there's some more steps that need to happen.
Correct.
So I think the Supreme Court will extend. The big question is, are they going to put another deadline?
Yes.
Or will it be just like any other TRO in the Supreme Court, which is a TRO forever until the case is resolved? So they can just say, we were looking at a new Congress coming in, right?
Yes.
So starting maybe February, late February, maybe March, everyone will be gone. Congress will go back to their districts. They will be campaigning. They have no time to consider this. And then after May, first 2 weeks of May, that's gone because that's the election.
Yes.
And then after that, you've got a new Congress coming in, and they sit down in June, and then no one's going to pay any attention until you get to June 30, which is SONA.
Right.
And then so you're looking at maybe end of the year at the earliest, if anything happens. So I think there's some space here where the Supreme Court can come down with a decision sometime, say May or June, and sort of throw the ball back at Congress and say, okay, what will you do now? So
what are the actions available to the Supreme Court?
As I said, they could throw the whole thing out.
Yes.
And so Congress starts from scratch.
Right.
Which I think the Internet, Philippine Internet, PIFA, right? Alliance,
PIFA.
right? Internet Freedom Alliance. They would rather have that because I think what they want to have is the ability to be engaged. Exactly, create the law.
Yeah.
They feel that they were sidelined.
Correct.
I'm not sure if they understand what they're asking for. It's one of those things where buyer's remorse,
Beware.
right?
Caveat
like,
emptor.
Yes, so you think you want to be in the room, and once they see the type of debate that happens in the House and sort of wrangling that goes on, I don't know if that's something that they would appreciate being a part of.
Okay.
And they may not necessarily win. They may not be able to convince,
yes.
right?
Okay,
and
so
what are they going to do? They're going to go to the streets. You asked to be to be brought into the room. So you either engage in the way
and if
these
you
people
engage, you deal with the results of that engagement.
Yes.
I think that's the next part,
Right.
which will actually help our maturity as a democracy as well.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And then, so you can throw the law out, you can take parts of the law, the Supreme Court can take parts
Yes, parts
of
of
the
it
law.
out, and then Congress can amend if they want.
So what does that happen if what does that mean if the Supreme Court does that, it goes back to Congress, and is there a time period or no?
The law will stand.
I see.
And,
So implementable yung law.
Implementable, yes, definitely. I mean, the provisions that I asked to be struck down,
Correct.
Everything that I asked for in my petition would be achieved.
Right.
The law would still be there. The definition of crimes will still be there.
Right.
Some of them are not so good, like the cyber sex provision and just badly written
Correct.
provisions, like the one on identity theft, for example.
Yes.
Doesn't really address identity theft, not necessarily. So we know what identity theft is. So it's the disconnect in
Yes.
the way. Plus, there might even be problems with, say, the cyber squatting provision. So some people want to prevent cyber squatting, but there's nowhere in the world, as I understand it, that cyber squatting is where you go to jail for cyber squatting.
Yes.
And what that means is if we're the only place where cyber squatting is a punishable act, what that means in my view is that only Filipinos will go to jail for cyber squatting, because Philippine courts won't have jurisdiction over foreign violations of cyber squatting, right? And those foreigners, if they know that they can go to jail here, they just won't come.
Yes.
They won't step foot here. So
Yes.
it will just be Filipinos who will be victimized. So the Filipino who registers a domain name, some foreigner says that's in violation of my rights.
Correct.
He goes to the Philippines, files a case against the Filipino. The hapless Filipino is the one who
Yes.
goes to jail.
Yes.
But if you turn the tables around, it's the Filipinos, the victim of cyber squatting from abroad. He can't send that guy to jail. He can
Right.
file the case here. The guy abroad will just shrug his shoulders.
So your main thing really is to make it a level playing field, to try to keep the internet evolving.
I think we need to be careful how we proceed. And I
Yes.
think the pushback that we're seeing from the online community is a warning to Congress that they should be more careful in where they draw the lines, because there's so many things that these things can go in 20 different directions.
Yes.
I mean, the beauty about the internet is that at its core, the guts of the internet,
Yes.
is nothing but packets.
Yes.
Like, they don't care where the packet. They care where the packet goes.
Right.
And it's only about packets, and it's an addressing system.
Yes.
Where should it go? The different ways that it may get to its destination. But it's a platform.
Right.
It doesn't demand what will be built. It doesn't try to predict or restrict what those things could be. And so the World Wide Web was something that could not have been contemplated by the people who invented the internet.
Right.
Right. They couldn't have thought of online media companies.
Yes.
This was they
Yes.
couldn't the need for a webmaster,
Yes,
a web
yes.
designer. Those are things that were complete. And so what that means is that we don't know what the future holds. And if we don't know what the future holds, why should we draw lines
Agree.
on the ground
Yes.
and say and presume as if we know where this is going to go, and these are the things that we need to do. So it's a situation where you have to draw a balance between freedom,
Yes.
allowing these things to happen and evolve, and trying to stop some of the more, problematic things from occurring. But you want to preserve the freedom. You want to
Yes.
preserve that sort of creative spark. You don't want to kill it.
Freedom and protection of
Yes, not
civil
protection
liberties.
of economic rights
Yeah.
per se, meaning
But
not
the
of say
protection of the
monopolies,
yes,
right?
yes.
But protection of inventive spark,
Correct.
of creativity, even entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Right.
Well, like I can see both ends, right? I studied the spread of terrorism, and now how the terrorists are using Facebook to actually expand their reach. And there are laws against it, but again, no one quite knows on the implementation stage, where is the line where's the line between a terrorist and a supporter? You know what I
there
mean?
you go. Yeah, yes,
It's
yes,
like
yes.
so it's complex. Anyway,
Yes.
your last thoughts. I know I've gone far longer. This is a fascinating topic, and we
Yeah.
should continue talking. But your sense, you were with the Supreme Court all day. Your sense,
all afternoon.
all afternoon. Yeah. What is your sense of where this Supreme Court is going to go?
I don't think that they sort of affect, in my view, as you asked earlier, I don't think that they were able to convince me that our positions were wrong. I think we have a very good case before us. I think we're giving them an opportunity, and they understand that, and they're giving us an opportunity as well to participate in one of the features of our democracy, which is to study and assess things that a different branch of government does. And I think they're thankful for that kind of opportunity, and they're going to act morally. I think they're trying to look for some moral center in the arguments, and that was clear across the board. It's not just the legal argumentation that they're interested in. They want to make sure that they're doing the right thing. They are concerned that things are evolving,
yes.
and they are concerned that there is a compelling state interest on the part of the government to stop cybercrime.
Yes.
And so they just want to know what can they do, how can they help in that cause with that. But at the same time, taking this constitution, which is effectively 18th century ideas,
right?
These are from the 1700s, and how can you take these ideas into this new world?
Yes.
Right? So I think they're going to shepherd us through. And or at least are willing to play that role. So it's very important, I think, for them to take an aggressive stance with respect to this, because I think it would signal to the internet community, Philippine internet community, that if there's a problem, you can run to the court.
Yes.
And the court will set it right.
Fantastic. Okay, just before we end, Patrick Laroya has just tweeted your quote, Section 19 or takedown clause of RA 10175 gives DOJ an all-encompassing power to shut down sites by mere prima facie evidence,
right.
with 2 exclamation points.
Right.
So you're spreading on the internet, on social media as we speak. We've been speaking with attorney JJ Disini. He just finished oral arguments at the Supreme Court. His thoughts on the cybercrime law, the careful balance that is ahead of the Supreme Court and the nation as we move ahead. I'm Maria Ressa. Thank you for joining us on Talk Thursday.